Sarah Kessinger, welcome. Sarah and John are there side by side, as people can see.
Well, thank you, Diane. I appreciate your introduction, and welcome. Gosh, this is great. I was thrilled to hear that we had actually 88 that signed up. I think that's just phenomenal, and that we're already up to 30 something. That's going to be probably our highest volume that we've ever had. So thank you so much on Zoom. It's fun that we're getting to the point where we might not have to do Zoom in the future. So I think we're all excited about something like that. That anything that indicates that we're over this mess. But the Art Center has been surviving quite well. We've kept it COVID free as much as absolutely possible, and the Sterling Society that is presenting this has also done the same thing. But we have had quite a few events that we have put on. And we've just asked people to, not come if you have a sniffle, and please bring your mask and get there. So it's been a remarkable 2 years for all of us, and we're glad to see the end of this. But I think that the indication here is we're ready to do something. You guys are, 88 strong. That is amazing. We don't usually have that many even in person, so that's an awesome number. It's really a tribute to you guys. So I'm not going to give you any advertising or anything like that, but we thank you, and the Sterling Society thanks you for doing this. And Diane, you and Nathan, you guys are the best. That's all I can say. Take care, and I will mute myself now.
Thanks so much, Sarah. And the only thing I'll add to Sarah's comments is Diane Wheatley Gelati. She's the person who has made our Zoom possible by providing a donation to pay for the Zoom account. So she's a long-standing member of the Sterling Society and was part of the founding members of Sterling. So I don't know, she usually attends these. If she's here, thank you again, Diane, for all your support this past year. And I'm just going to go over quickly some logistics, as many of you have attended Zooms before, but the chat button is there for you to put in your questions once the slideshow goes on. And if there's a particular slide you have a question about, or you just want to make a comment, after Carol and Blake make their presentation, you'll have an opportunity to ask the questions directly, or I can read the question whatever way you'd like. During the presentation, of course, stay muted, and then we'll see what happens at the end. Sometimes it's a free-for-all. Sometimes people use the little hand icon when they want to ask a question. So I handle monitoring that at the end of the presentation. You've all read the bios for Carol and Blake, so I'm not going to repeat any of that. I'm just going to let them present themselves and talk about how this amazing home in Dunedin evolved. So Nathan is going to take it from here as the tech wizard to get the slideshow kicked off. And thank you, Carol and Blake.
Thank you.
Oh, that's better.
Now we've got the first slide up there, ready to go.
Okay.
Ready to go. Okay. Well, that's us, of course. Whoops, we lost us.
It'll come back.
Oh, okay. We'll wait. All right. That's the arch that we did several years ago.
2012.
2012. And it's an earlier slide, obviously, so that you can't really see all the mosaics on the house at that point. A little later on, you will, though. And the arch is significant to us. A friend of ours, actually, I woke up one morning and I told Blake I had a dream that we needed an arch on the front lawn. And we called a friend of ours who's no longer with us, Bruce, and we explained to him what we wanted, and he came over and he built this wooden frame for us. And we put mosaic panels onto the frame. The part that Blake is leaning against has names of the men in his life who were important to him. And on my side are the women in my life who are important to me. And you can see the feminine side and the masculine side. What do you have to add?
Well, it's kind of like a gateway.
Good.
You walk through there, and then you walk through a pathway, and it meanders. So it's a gateway through to the art, and you'll see the figures. And if you look closely, you'll see that they're made out of clay. Carol took clay figures and glazed them and then created these images. And it's all about masculinity and femininity and how not one is better than the other. It's how men and women have to work together, that we're co-authors of everything.
Also, one other point, the changes that make waves is kind of significant, like, as far as, how do you put it?
It's iconic. It's in a lot of Carol's art.
Well, things will just stay the same if we don't take a chance and make a change. And maybe it works, and maybe some people's feathers are ruffled, and maybe they aren't, but that's the way to make a change.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
Okay, and a lot of the pieces, you can't see everything. There's actually 18 3x5 panels in there. They're screwed on. It's hardy board, which is a masonry product. And, there's a lot of cryptic coding going on there that I can't explain it to you now, but if you would ever come by, I can explain, what's going on there more in detail. Okay, we're ready to move on.
Okay, now this is us in a prior incarnation, as everybody can see. This is from a show that I was involved in probably 42 years ago in Baltimore. It was a show of dolls, and it was for the opening of Annie. And I was one of the women who participated in that. And it was, Blake and I were new to each other, and this is something I created at that time.
Yeah, you'll notice my mouth is shut. Oh, the background there is in my studio. Okay. And to next to Carol, you'll see a female figure, and what she's doing is that whole panel. There's a woman holding up everything, like religion, society, and all the figures that she's holding up are men. So I got a kick out of that. All right, next.
Next. Pink.
I'll talk about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, this is the side of my studio, and this is one of the first pieces I really worked on. It's about 20 feet long by 7 feet high. And at the time we did this is probably 2003 or 4, we didn't have any kilns. So everything we used was found objects. The whole piece is called Turquoise Mayan Dream. And it deals about reincarnation, present time, future time. And the figure on the right is Our Lady of Guadalupe. I call her our alien Lady of Guadalupe, but she's surrounded by plates. And as I was putting those on, a friend of ours is really into collectibles, said, Blake, each one of those plates is worth $20. So in a lot of the art, there may be some things that are valuable that we've broken, but they're in posterity now, so it's okay.
Say next.
Next. Okay, that's another angle where you can see the two figures, and the taller one is myself, and the other one is Carol, and we're Mayans. And we had a good time in that life, I think. Yeah, we lived in the Yucatan, went swimming, collected shells.
That's it.
Okay, we can move on.
Oh, this is, what year was this?
About 6 years ago.
About 6 years ago. A friend of ours, Polly Perkins, who's an artist in St. Pete, contacted us during one of the shows that we did, I think Cool Art, and asked us if we'd like to do a mosaic for the Tampa Aquarium. And the theme was supposed to be Madagascar. So this is us working on that. And in the back are some of the fiber work that I did. And the next picture, I believe, is of, you can go to the next one. This is almost finished. That's what it looks like. And how big is it?
6 feet by 10 feet, I think.
6 by 10, excuse me, and it's in the exhibit with the lemurs on the upper level of the Tampa Aquarium. And this was great fun. We really enjoyed doing this. A lot of the things in here, they told us what they wanted. And a lot of these things are made of clay and glazed in our kilns. And you can kind of see all of what's here.
Yeah, we didn't know if we would be able to work with them because our work is kind of somewhat abstract.
Mhm.
And, you know, it worked out great. You can't see, but in the upper left is Africa.
Yeah, I was going to say that she wanted elephants in Africa, so we did. Blake glazed one of them pink, so it got in there anyway. So Africa's got, among other ones, a pink elephant. Is that what you're going to say?
Mhm.
Next. Well, I'll start out talking about this. This is our kitchen now. And when we moved in, it was a concrete floor and it was very ugly. We moved in the house in 2000, we bought the house. And I painted, I think first I painted it, I asked Blake to paint it orange and then made some sketches of coffee cups and made rubber stamps and stencils out of acetate and then put those on the floor, and that got very worn out within a couple of years. And then I painted canvases like a rug and put it down, and that also got kind of ruined within a number of years. And Blake kind of insisted that we do a mosaic on the floor, and we did, and the whole floor now is mosaicked. All of the colors that you see pretty much were glazed and fired, and we did that because it's very difficult to find colors other than beige and off beige and very beige and little beige.
Yeah, the whole process took about 2 months. We had to continually glaze and fire, and we did it in sections. We could do one section, grout it and move stuff back. The color, I don't know if you can see, but there's different variations of the shades of the orange. And what happened when I grouted it black, it was somewhat porous, and so the grout got in there and turned it a little darker. And at the time, I was just really upset because I didn't want it to be that way. But then as time went by, it added more depth to it and more contrast. So it was a mistake that turned out to be a good mistake.
And people comment on that all the time, how much they like the variation. One other point, when we did this, we didn't do it all directly on the floor. It was done in kind of sections in my studio, putting pieces together that were maybe 18 inches around, sort of, and then bringing it to the kitchen and laying them on the floor. They were all taped together. And then Blake would lay them out and arrange things.
Yeah, I'm able to do all this because I have a background in construction.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're self-taught with a lot of this. We had to learn by trial and error. And, you know, okay.
Oh, Blake's bathroom.
Okay, 2020 COVID, we were in lockdown. And so what did we do? We went to work. We each have a bathroom, his and hers. And we were, actually, what started all this was the toilet was leaking, and I had to rip out part of the wall, and I ripped out the wall. I go, I know what I'm going to do. So I glazed all these figures, but they're on 12-inch tile, and that you buy at Lowe's or Home Depot, and then, you know, refire them. And I just did all this repetitiveness with female figures and male figures, and you can see a bisque doll head that we have there. There's stained glass in there. So that was about a month's worth of work.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's another one of the bathroom.
That's,
Next. I think you have another one.
yeah, you should have one of the shower.
Oh, no,
No,
go that
okay.
one.
Okay, this is the shower. The colors are a little off. It's really hard to photograph Mosaic because of the light reflective value. And there's male figures and female figures. Yeah, so, we never use black. We never use
Rarely,
black.
rarely.
And once we did, it really provides contrast because we have so many bright colors. And with the black, it really brings it out.
Pops it, yeah. Next. Well, this is my bathroom. And the first thing that was done in here was the floor. That was almost when we moved in. And then the wall on the left. And then most recently during the COVID thing, the toilet and the tiles above the toilet and the sink, each one of them on that wall is done individually by hand, glazed and fired by me. And then Blake and I installed them. Okay.
Yeah, the work that you did, I mean, when you can see it in person, it's just so intricate. Each piece stands alone. I mean, it could be framed. It's that exquisite. The only other thing that if we had a big enough kiln, what we would have done was put the toilet or the sink and glazed it and fired it in the kiln. But our kiln isn't big enough.
Next. This is a view above the sink, and you can get a little better idea of, of what the tiles look like, and framing them with strips of color kind of, again, made them pop a little bit better. So it's fun. Sometimes I'm in the bathroom brushing my teeth and I'll just look at each piece individually. And one will be my favorite one day, and then the next day it'll be some other one. So they were a lot of fun.
Some of the writing that you have there, it almost looks like in some ancient Sanskrit.
Yeah. Next.
I can't decode it.
Neither can I. This is Blake's studio, and I think you should tell them why the orchids are there.
Okay. This is the original garage. And when we first moved here, this was Carol's studio for about 12 years. And when she left, then I was able to have a space. The orchids you see there are there because I think we
It's a hurricane.
either a hurricane or we had a cold spell.
Right.
The floor is based on Egyptology. The northern or the farthern part, there's pyramids, there's the ibises, winged sun symbols. And the lower part, you can see two figures, and those are the same figures that are on the arch.
Right.
And they're standing in between a sarcophagus. Again, that was done with tiles that we were able to find and tiles that we had to glaze. And that took about 2 months too, because I divided it up in quadrants and had to do sections and then move stuff. Unfortunately, it's a working studio. It would be nice if it was kind of cleared out. So right now, about 60% of it is visible and 40% of it has furniture over it. Okay, Nathan. Okay, that's the back wall
Of the studio.
of the studio. What I did was I made all these panels and I screwed them to the wall. And these are a little bit different because you can see two female mannequins that are a little bit different than the mosaic technique that we use with thin set mortar. What I do with those mannequins is I rough them up, I prime them, and I paint them. And then I use a special adhesive and glue pieces down. And then that's fastened to the wall. And the same thing with the dishes and the plates. They're actually glued to the piece. So I had it was trial and error to try to find a proper adhesive. A lot of times stuff would fall off after a year or two, and I finally was able to find something. And now with technology, there's a lot of choices out there. Better products.
Next.
Okay.
Let me say first, this is the only image that we had of full-size mannequins of Blake. There are a few of them. So I'm sorry that we didn't have more.
Okay, there's 3 of these that are this size, and then we have other ones. This was just something popped into your head, and you know, it's a formed mosaic. And that's a freestanding mannequin. It's about 5.5 feet tall, and you know, it's loaded with stuff. I have a lot of little baby faces on there because I like repetitiveness. And on the base, I had to make the base to support the weight of it. And I actually took these to a show, and I'll never do it again. It was like unbelievable.
If you want to say so.
But anyway, I enjoyed doing them. I don't know if I'll ever do another one. So they're kind of part of a collection. They're really not for sale. And I had fun with it. And we're doing now a takeoff on this. They're in our driveway. They're small mannequins that forms, plastic forms, torsos. We pour concrete in and rebar, and we have them in the ground. So they're similar to this, but they can be outside. This is an interior piece.
Next.
Okay, this is a full half torso. You can see stuck in the crotch there, that's you can't see the image, but it's a Buddha beer bottle. It's an image of Buddha. There's an Asian figure, and to the either side of it, like wings, are relish dishes. There's a lot of buttons in there. There's a few tiles we made. There's salt and pepper shakers. There's what else? On the top, there's a dragon, an elephant. And it's sitting on top of one of our kilns, and you can see right behind it is another kiln.
Yeah.
So those kilns we got, I'm not sure when, but we got them basically at yard sales, believe it or not, and they work fine. They're not, you know, the computerized, they're all manual. And our friend who's watching, Patrick, was able to help us electronically fix one. So thanks, Patrick.
Next.
Okay, this is an early incarnation of furniture we mosaicked. Maybe about 15 years ago, we would do a lot of shows with these pieces and bird baths, and it's a little end table that I cut a piece of plywood out of and put it on there, and you know, it's really heavy. You know, I couldn't even lift it anymore. It's a totally functional piece, and you know, it's got candlestick holders in there, and for the drawer pulls, they're actual cups, and there's glass in there and pottery. It was a fun piece to do. Okay, Nathan. Okay. All right, these are the tiles, the 12-inch tiles that I had fun with. When I do them, I do a series of 4. So each one of those I would have 4 of them. And then when I would get down to 1, then I would do more. And, you know, the figures I kind of keep the same. I just maybe change the color scheme and some of the design. And then I was able to find some frames and put them in the frame so they can be hung. I put them in stepping stones. I put them in mosaic pieces. So they're fun. Gives me something to do.
Keeps you out of trouble.
Okay, Nathan.
Oh, this is my studio on a better day, actually. I am not exclusively mosaic. I'm not sure what's on the table there, but on the left is one of my fiber pieces. And I'm trying to see what above the chair also is a bulletin board with things that are special to me that I like. There's some Seminole dolls and a doll head and some other words. And a couple of pictures that people have sent to us. On the left is my paint collection on the bottom, which I go through periodically. And the bins are mostly covered totally with beads and buttons. Okay, next. That one's not very clear anyway. Oh, these are 3 more of the fiber pieces. The Frida Kahlo one is on the left. What was the name of the movie star? Theater?
Selma Hayek.
No. The one in the middle, those were the days, is a famous silent movie star. And the next one are 2 female figures. Underneath that, you can see the banner that says Lost in the 50s. And the black wooden figure is something that we found at a, thank you, Annie. Annie says it's theater.
Hedaborough.
Is it Hedda?
Yeah.
Theta, whatever.
Hedaborough.
Yeah, thank you, Annie Ellis, for that. Okay. And okay, there's a couple of articles about us. Next, please. This is more like what it looks like right now. A lot going on in here. More of my fiber pieces. At one time we did all shows with fiber. And these are some of the pieces that were there. On the right are pieces framed with rulers hanging from vintage hangers, my Kit Kat clocks. And yeah, Blake just pointed to the piece in the lower left that's hanging. That one is, you can barely see all of it, but it's an applique of 4 Sad Sisters was the title. And actually I did that when we were in Baltimore. I worked for Village Julie College. And that was a piece that I did for a show there. Oh, the one above the red plant where the table is next to the black Kit Kat clock says the life you lead is never just your own, I believe. And that is a transfer picture of my mother in her 20s. So next, please. I think this is more of the same, except the I am cat, which is very important to us. We have 2 cats right now, and we did have 6 at one time. Next. Oh, these are,
Your girlfriends.
no, these aren't the girlfriends.
Those are your
Girlfriends.
new girlfriends.
These are faces that I did out of clay and with some embellishments on them. Some are gone and some are still with us. So, and the flowers that are on them come from our Capodimonte garden, which is outside. We pick up Capodimonte at yard sales and antique shops, and we just go pick them or break them with a hammer when we need a flower, and often just make them when we run out. So, next. Oh, who bought this? This piece has more embellishments on it after this picture was taken, but this now belongs to our friends and neighbors, Lorraine and Patrick, who are watching. And I believe this is going to go up to the Cape Cod very soon. So we'll say goodbye to our mermaids. Next. This one is somewhere in Dunedin. I don't remember where, but this also is a clay figure with words and other embellishments of tiles. Are you going to say anything about that? No. Okay. Next. Wonder Woman. Mostly a collage. This was done with comic book images, and she's hanging in our studio right now. Next. This is Guns N' Roses. Yeah, Guns N' Roses. This was for a show at the Art Center a few years ago. And I don't remember the name of it, but I'm sure Catherine or someone will tell us. And I did 2 pieces. These are bullet shells that we found at a flea market and a yard sale. And I put that together. And then if you'll go to the next one, you'll see another one that I did. This one was part of the same show, and it's got a lot of computer pieces on it, which were given to me by lots and lots of friends. Our friend Andy Dassing gave us 3 boxes of computer pieces yesterday, so we'll have to do a little more with it. And this one went to somebody. I don't remember who bought this during the show, but this was a very nice piece.
Wearable art.
Oh, who told us that? Catherine said it was wearable art. Okay. Thank you, Catherine. Oh, this one is my cat guitar. And
That's a beautiful piece.
thank you. Doug and, no, not Doug, who bought this?
That lady from Tampa.
Alexandria.
Yeah.
Yeah, a friend from Tampa bought this, Bob in Alexandria, I think. And it's a regular size guitar, which is all embellished with pieces that were glazed and fired in our kilns. And
If you can look, you'll see figures of a blue cat.
where's the-
Cat on a hot tin roof right to the left of that. You'll see that figure repeated 2 other times. And the Dunedin Fine Arts Center had an opening a long time ago. And for some reason, they had Fat Cat beer. And I was digging through the garbage cans to get those cans because I love the lithography on them. And we were able to incorporate them in some of the pieces, but
you can't really see.
you can't see them. But in some of my pieces, you can almost see the whole can. But some of the beer cans, some of the artwork is unbelievable. And I was collecting a lot of those beer cans to use in the artwork. And I haven't quite done that yet, but they're there waiting.
Next. Well, this is one of the pieces, our bird baths. We've made 20 plus at this point in time. I think the majority of them are in the Dunedin area, although they're pretty much all over at this point. Right? Patrick and Lorraine took one up to Massachusetts. One is going to Asheville very soon. What else?
Well,
Found objects,
Yeah,
lots
yeah.
of found objects.
there are 2 pieces, the top and the pedestal, and you can fill them up with water.
The birds just love them.
Birds will go in there. We've done a few where people didn't want to put them outside. They have them in their homes. They're kind of like, they consider it sculpture.
Mhm.
They're heavy. You know, the top is about 30 pounds and the base could be about 30. And we have other forms that we've used that are much heavier. But unfortunately, at this stage of the game, we got to think about our bodies, and we have to eliminate certain things that we just can't do anymore.
One of them, last night we auctioned off at the garden party for the art center. And we also had one donated to Martinis and Matisse, the benefit for the Clearwater Free Clinic. And our friend Davida happened to be the winner of that one. So that was really great.
Yeah, it stayed in the family.
You're welcome, Catherine. Next.
Another bird bath.
Yeah. Some of our images are not the best, so
It's
we
hard to photograph
apologize.
this, but if you look closely at the birds,
Mhm.
you'll notice that they're bright colors. And what we do is we go to resale shops and we buy those. They're generally music boxes. And we strip out all the components, and the glazes are white or off-white. And we're able to reglaze them in our kilns and then use them. So it gives it
A little more
a lot
interest.
more color.
Yeah. And there's some of our flowers in there that we made. Next. We just got a message from our friend Patty, who thinks one of them should go to Missouri, where she is. This is another one of the bird baths looking down on it. I think this is a great image. I really like this one. A combination of lots of things, little figurines, flowers, And,
Each bird bath kind of tells a story. It can
Yeah.
tell a story with, the figures, or it can tell a story with the colors and the geometry of the
mhm.
scheme of the art.
One of them is just, we're finishing one right now, as a matter of fact. We'll see where that goes. Okay, next, please. Oh, this is our friend Jennifer Koscherik. Jennifer, if you're on, I hope you are. Jennifer moves to Alaska. She is the St. Pete mural artist who painted the mural in the back of her house. The next time everybody visits, you'll have to see her mural.
She's got, I don't know, 30 or 40 murals in St. Petersburg. Her work is just absolutely stunning.
And we have a few of her paintings as well. Okay, next. Oh, these are
Wonder Woman
sneakers.
shoes.
They're sneakers, yeah. And taking some experimenting a little bit, painting them. Next. Another pair of clogs painted. The paint stays very well. It's been on for a long time. Paint, markers, whatever I have. Next. Yeah, I didn't have that. This is one of a current class. I think it's the house number class.
Yeah. This was maybe a month or two ago.
Yeah, when people preferred to wear masks, so I can't even tell you who everyone is. But the studio, we were able to set up for 8 people, no more than that. And during that period, it was less. And we've had classes for many years. We've done different things: mosaic mirrors, house number signs, stepping stones, floor cloths, Ukrainian Easter eggs, which are like little batiks on eggs. And yeah, let's see. How do we find out about classes? Well, we'll tell you that at the end if you like.
Yeah.
And I'm also kind of obsessed with the color green. I'm not wearing all green today, but I really enjoy that color. It makes me happy.
I'll tell this story. I tell it to everybody. When I met Carol in 1979, purple, everything was purple. Purple clothing, purple rugs, purple couches. And when we moved to Florida, she said, I'm not into purple anymore. It's going to be green. So we've been here 32 years and everything is green now, but there's purple.
Yeah, just
So,
more minimally.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
well, this was under the quarantine again, and we didn't know what to do. So we just started making things and putting them up on the outside of the house. And that is above the front door. And to the left of that, there's more that we just haven't photographed. That's a lot of the flowers Carol made, and the orange with yellow gems in it. That's it's a crystal glaze from Mako. And the mosaics is the same thing. And it's, it's on hardy board with thin set and just screwed right into the wood.
And then the panels on the right have clay figures of animals, imaginary animals, kind of Dr. Seuss-ish, I think. And those were all done in our kiln, and they go all the way down. I'm sorry we don't have a bigger picture of that.
And above the door, you see Shalom. Shalom, you all. Okay.
Next, please.
We're getting to the end. Oh, your turn.
My turn? Okay, this is a walkway to our house. And I think this one we may have done right on the ground. I don't remember.
This is the first one.
Okay. So I'm reading, it says, if you have to leave early, you will be able to view the entire presentation. Okay, so this is all mosaic in the walkway, and to the right are stepping stones that we mosaicked as well.
Yeah, this, the background, the purplish blue tile, we bought that at Tons of Tile, and it's all recycled tile. It's ground up tile and glass, and it came from a company in Ohio, and it's floor tile. Some of it is wall tile, so when it gets wet, it can be a little slick.
Mhm.
But Carol designed it. These are all abstract figures, and it was our first attempt at doing a surface like this. We had to grout it, so it was done right on the sidewalk, and it was a good learning experience.
Next. This is the front porch, which was painted at one time, and we decided to mosaic this. And these are nudes after Matisse's work. And I think there are 4 of them. You can only see 3. And that was a lot of fun. The dark background color was floor tile that we got quite a bit of, I think.
It's the same recycled.
The same tile. And the other ones, the colors are pretty much things that we glazed ourselves.
If you're looking at that panoramic view, that whole piece is about 30 feet long by 6 feet wide. And the figures Carol put together in her studio, she drew the design on the floor and then traced paper over it, and then took the paper and put it in her studio and worked the tile, taped it together, transported it out here, cemented it down, and then a lot of the pieces around it were done individually. We just took each piece, put a little bit of mortar on there and slopped it down. So that was, this was done, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago. We were a little bit younger and able to get up and down quite easy. And
The piece right next to above the nude, the biggest nude, says, if you can think it, you can do it. And then there's another little piece on there somewhere that has our names and the date. Oh, that's in the front.
yeah, some of these glazes, they're extinct. You can't get them anymore.
Mm.
They stopped making them for whatever reason. And some of the glazes were our favorite. I mean, sometimes you put 3 coats on a tile and fire it, and you put 20 tiles in there, and each tile would come out a little bit different.
Mhm.
And I think they said they had lead in there, so that's why they took it out. But the lead was good for that abstract color. Okay, next.
Oh. Okay, this is the side of the house where you would walk towards back to the backyard and the garden. These are figures that were made in clay, obviously, and surrounded by mosaic, different kinds of found objects, marbles, glass, tiles, some glazed by us, some not. Also, I don't think we can see them too well, but there are pieces in there. We got together with a bunch of girlfriends, and people made little tiles and put them in. So I don't know that we can actually show you. Jenny, if you're on, one of yours is in here. And our friend Bonnie was in here. I don't see any of the others though.
Linda Wagner's in there.
Is Linda Wagner's
Well, you
in here
can't
too?
see it. That whole
Yeah.
piece is 8 feet tall by about 10 feet long. And it's sections of hardy board on there. And we call that whole area Carol's Girlfriends. It was an interesting enterprise to get people to participate.
Yeah, we really enjoyed that. We're gonna have to do that again.
There's some Moroccan pottery in there, and I want
Oh.
to talk a little bit about that.
That was fun.
There's a Moroccan export-import place in St. Pete. It used to be on 6th and Central, and then they moved. But it's real low fire, so when it comes from Morocco, pieces get broken, and they would just give you bags of it. And when they moved, they would take it and put it in the dumpster, and they just said, take as much as you want.
So we go there periodically and pick up bunches of this Moroccan
We've
stuff.
got a 10-year supply of it. But what's interesting is the geometric designs, and some of the colors are really phenomenal.
Mhm, mhm. But it's low fire, so it's kind of, you have to be more careful when you're cutting it and using it.
Yeah, when you nip it, the glaze comes
Yeah,
off.
crumples. Next. Go ahead.
All right, this is the backyard. A little bit has changed. We now have a wood deck back there. It's about our orchids, which we really enjoy. We figured out how to grow them. You just leave them alone. And the fence is another form where we can, there was a period there where I don't know, I was obsessed by doing these panels, and I just couldn't stop, and I didn't have any place to put them. So we put them on the fence, and that's about where we stopped there. Now we have to replace the fence and take all the panels off. And when they come off, due to past experience, they may need to be repaired. So, it's an undertaking, and I'm not really looking too forward to it because I'm going to have to get somebody to help me take them off.
Also, we've had our friend Katie Green, who's listening, I hope, came and did storytelling in our garden twice. And we had a number of people come for that event, and it was really terrific. Everybody enjoyed it.
She did a Halloween special
And we really liked that one. That was great.
at sunset.
Yeah. So we had all the chairs lined up on the deck, and everybody was able to listen to Katie.
If you can see in the far right, a tilted bird bath. That was the first bird
Pretty
bath.
much.
Yeah, Carol did that, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago.
A long time ago.
She did that, and she did the bathrooms, and that was,
The bathroom wall.
yeah, she was the instigator for all this. We can blame it all on her.
Next, please.
That's the back wall that you saw from the other view.
Tell them about the fence.
Yeah.
Kitty fence.
Oh, well, you'll see mesh up above, and that's a barrier so our cans can't escape, which they used to do before we had that up there. And the furthest panel on the left, on the top, you'll see like shapes, like a fan, and that I did a stained glass lamp that one of the cats broke, and just took it apart and put it in the mosaic. And on the far right, those are tiki figures and some big plates. This was probably done about 8 years ago. So, the work evolves and it changes. I think it gets better.
Mhm.
It gets a little bit more complex. It almost gets to the point where it's just maybe too complex. Next.
This is the porch before we did the mosaic. So you can see it was just like kind of painted. The squares were taped so that we could sponge the squares alternately like tiles. And you can see on the right, the whole image of the mosaic with the imaginary animals. And then on the right are 2 other panels. Now the whole front porch is covered. So it's a little different.
Yeah, on the far left of the door, it looks like a stick figure with an ashtray for a head. And that's kind of biblical. It's called Keeper of the Garden. And it's how humanity was given the task of taking care of Earth. And yeah, they kind of screwed up. We screwed up big time. But there's a lot of figures of animals and birds in there. And then to the next of it, it's called Dragonland. And that's highlighted by a lot of Asian pottery. Okay, Nathan.
Oh, I wish this was a little bit better contrast, but this is the one that was on the front porch. And you can see the animals a little bit more clearly with good friends at the bottom. I don't even know, what did it say?
Shells.
Oh, and the shells came from the beach
We
at
would
Caladesi.
take our kayak out to go to Caladesi and scour the beach and get all kinds of beautiful shells.
Mhm. Next. This is a close-up of the female in the arch. And you can see the house in the background. Before it was all mosaic, it was green. And by the way, we have 2 green cars, a green Element and a green Kia, FYI. So this has a lot of clay in it, and I was really very pleased with this one. Okay, next. I think this is the end, isn't it?
Yeah, this is what we do in the morning in the summertime. We sit out on the front porch and wave to our friends when they walk their dogs or they just come by.
Yeah.
To the left of me, that's a newer panel. That was during COVID. Carol did all these faces. And I don't know how many faces are in there, but there's a lot. And to the left of that is more.
Is that it, Diane?
Well, we haven't had too many questions on the chat. Lots of incredible compliments and comments and inspiring. I noticed that you took a look at the chat periodically. But the one question that several people had and that I also have is what adhesive or adhesives do you use in affixing things when they're not grouted and used magnetic? Yeah.
I'm going to just tell a little bit of the reason why we chose this. We go to these outsider art or visionary art sites all over the United States, and they were constructed of concrete and painted or metal, and they were falling apart after a period of time. And so we decided, this mosaic, it'll need maintenance, but it could last a really long time. What we do is all the panels are hardy board, which you can buy anywhere, and the adhesive on the hardy board is thin set mortar. I can go and get it at Lowe's. It's called Mapei, M-A-P-E-I, and it's gray, and it's a little epoxy enforced. It's about $15 a bag. And if I go to Lowe's, I buy a similar product, but it's called VersaBond. And the grouting on the floors, it's sanded grout, and we like to use black or charcoal because it hides all the dirt and it makes things stand out a little bit better.
Did you say something about not using it in the panels, the grout?
Yeah, in the panels, we don't use any grout. We put on thick mortar and we squeeze it on and it oozes out.
I'm seeing a message from Deborah. We use the thin set on the bird baths, and we do not grout those either.
We don't seal anything.
No. Cal.
And I can tell you're also looking at the chats.
Yes.
A lot of the people have asked about, wanting to see it personally. And I know you need to have an advance notice of that. So do you want to tell folks how they can make arrangements to come and do a personal tour?
Sure. You can email us, you can text us, you can message us, just get into a Facebook page.
You can show up.
Yeah.
If we're there.
Yeah.
People come in off the street or bicycles, and
we have Dunedin bike tours.
Our friend Russ does a bicycle tour, and we're one of the stops, and he can come 3 or 4 times a week, and he spends maybe 10 minutes here. People buy things from the bike tour. People, come by, and we created this environment for people to come and look at. We see it through your eyes because we're here every day, and not that we're jaded, but we see it. And so when we see people look at it and smile, that's how we see it.
Yeah,
so we really encourage people to come by.
You can, if you get into the Mosaic House of Dunedin, you can message us that way, or go to Carol Sackman, and that page is really for both of us.
I have a question. It's me, Annie.
Hi, Annie.
Hi. I wanted to ask you, when you were talking about putting the tape over the image and then transferring, that is brilliant. And I was thinking, I would have done that on so many of the projects that I did at your house, quite honestly. So I was wondering, when you transfer that, are you then untaping it and then
No.
putting it down?
No, you tape the sections together first.
Right, I understand
But
that.
not the whole thing, Annie, smaller sections.
So then you
And
go
then
and,
you take that section to where you want to put it,
Did you kick some butt?
water it down, and then take the tape off after that.
yeah, okay, so
Yeah.
you attach that section, then you go back and get the other one taped up,
Right,
bring
yes,
that over, got it.
yes.
Okay, I just thought, oh yeah, that's really smart because I take pictures of it sometimes, but
I
it would be
know, yeah,
so much easier to do it like that.
absolutely,
So that's a
absolutely.
just-
great idea.
You
Thank
don't
you.
want to take the tape off too soon because
No,
if
no.
you do,
I think
Yeah.
Diane wants to say something.
Well, I wanted to pose a question for another person as soon as
Oh,
Annie's
okay.
done. Yeah, somebody posted a question. She's curious if your mosaic designs are sketched out first,
Amy,
or do you design as you go?
Full
That
house.
question is from Patty Monks.
it's all Mosaic.
Oh, that's Patty.
yes.
Yeah, Patty.
Sometimes, Patty,
go.
sometimes they're sketched and sometimes they're not. With the big figures on the arch, those were sketches. The
That's
coffee
awesome.
cups in the kitchen were also.
Steph Ray, your volume is on if you want to turn it off.
Yeah,
Sorry.
if other people have questions, if they want to raise their hand or unmute themselves. I've been looking at the chat, mostly complimentary and thank you, and wanting to come see it personally. But anybody that also still has a question, we're about to close up, and I do want to tell you, if you had friends that wanted to see this program but weren't able to come in on Zoom, it will be, a recording of it will be on YouTube. You would go to the DFAC website, dfac.org, and in the top banner of the website, there's a YouTube icon. So you can look at it again. You can share it with friends, and all of the past coffee and conversations are also there on YouTube. So if there's no more questions from anyone, the one question that didn't get clearly answered was adhesive for your 3D pieces. So
It's the same,
the same mastic.
the mortar.
It's all thin set mortar.
So,
However, the mannequins that I do, they're done with an adhesive caulk, silicone caulk.
mhm. And then there was another question, where do you advertise your classes?
We have a mailing list, and if anybody wants to email us with their email address, they will get notices. We also post on Facebook and the Mosaic House of Dunedin, as well as the Dunedin Fine Arts Center's page.
Okay, thank you so much. And this was our largest turnout. We didn't have all 88 log on, but 88 people had registered, and we were at 50 at one point.
Nice.
So thanks to all of you who came today. And I just want to make one brief announcement. We have one more coffee and conversation coming up, and it's going to be live. Our last one is going to be Ann Feldschuh, Monroe Street Gallery, and there'll be several artists. And I'm not sure yet whether it's going to be live at the Art Center in the studios like we used to, or live at her gallery. I believe Anne would like to host it at her gallery, Monroe Street Gallery. So watch for more information on that in the next few weeks, and that will be on May 10th, and same time, noon, Tuesday. So hope some of you can make
We
it.
have something else to say.
Yes, go ahead,
We want to
Carolyn.
thank you, Diane, for all your work, for coming here and working with us and helping us through this computer maze.
No,
And
it was my pleasure.
Nathan has been just so wonderful with us, patient, and just
Yeah,
answering all our questions. And he's in the other room now.
He's milking cows.
He's milking cows, yes.
No,
And
Welcome.
also,
It's been a joy working with you both.
There she is,
Oh.
Jillian. I want to say hello to our friend in Milwaukee, Jillian. She finally got on.
Yeah, she's
After-
there.
She finally got on.
Also, of course, we want to thank Kathy Bergman and the Dunedin Fine Arts Center.
Yeah, and
You guys were really great.
thanks to all our friends who took the time to listen to us.
Yeah, yep, yep.